a list of conversion numbers?
Yes, let me look at
Because,
that.
for example, 75 yards, 0.0 yards, you could, for example, go and say there are, in 1 yard, there are 3 feet. But sometimes they give you kind of that like intermediate value that you eventually need. Like at some point you have to convert from either feet to meters or inches to meters or inches to centimeters. I guess that's where I guess I need to know what you're going to be given. If you know, if you don't, I can kind of go to the one that's most common.
So we have a little half sheet of paper and it's some conversion factors, but it's not really about the metric system because we're supposed to like memorize that part.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So there are so the main one is that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. That's kind of the one that a lot of them asked. Is that the one you see, or did you get a different one? Sometimes they say like 3.9 feet in a meter.
I got the 2.4 centimeters because an inch.
4 or 5.4?
5.4, sorry.
5.4. Okay, making sure, just making sure. Okay, so we got to go all the way to inches. So you'll see I keep drawing these lines because these bottom things cancel. So it's like 1 foot is 12 inches and those cancel. And then you finally get to this conversion. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So see how the inches cancel? We're not done until we get to meters. Now you got to know, well, how many centimeters are in a meter, or in 1 meter, or how many centimeters? There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So see how these units cancel? So you're just down to meters at the end. These are called single conversion problems, meaning that you just keep going until you get to the one you want at the end. Excuse me. Okay, I mean, we're going to do more, but that we had to kind of start somewhere. So 75 yards, 1 yard is 3 feet. 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Now, to get the actual number, the best way to do it is to multiply the top. Okay, and then divide by the bottom. Now, the bottom itself is a number, but it's like you multiply everything in the top, multiply everything in the bottom, and you take the top and divide by the bottom. So if you've got a calculator, you definitely would be allowed to be given one here. So the top number is like 6858, and the bottom number is 100. And so when you divide, you get 68.58, but it also said significant figures in your answer. So how many significant figures is this? Do you know?
3.
3. So your final answer should have 3 in it. So it would be like 68.6. The truth is that once you get out of this section, like the emphasis isn't really on significant figures anymore. So if this doesn't like feel good, or it's like, oh, there's a lot to remember here, it kind of goes away. They just happen to pick this topic to start out. Okay, so go on to number 2 here. Number 2 is 1.5 feet. And see, this one's a little bit more straightforward to convert. So you start with the given one, 1.5 feet. And in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So see how those cancel?
Yeah.
And the inches is the nice one. There in 1 inch, there is 2.54 centimeters. And so we're like, we got it. Like we're already to the unit that we want. So you put your starting number over here on the left, and you go until you get to the thing on the right that you're trying to get. And like, I can't really help you much to learn this. Like some of these you just have to know, there's 3 feet in a yard, 12 inches in a foot. But you multiply these numbers together to get your final answer here. So that's 1.5 times 12 times 2.54, and that's 45.72. But how many significant figures are here?
2.
2. So you'd say 46 centimeters. So basically you don't do it until the end, is my understanding.
Okay.
All right. What do you have for your conversion for ounces? What's the one that they give you?
Ounces is 16 ounces equals a pound, and then 1 ounce is 28.35 grams.
28.35 grams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So these are tough because you have to sort of know, which direction to go. We're just going to use that one to start out here. 1 ounce is 28.35 grams. And then these cancel. Okay, that's great. We're excited about that. 1 gram, I believe, is 1 cubic centimeter. Need to double check that. It is. That looks okay. 1 gram is 1 cubic centimeter. And then 1 cubic centimeter is 1 milliliter. So 1 centimeter cubed is 1 milliliter. And then you have to figure out how many milliliters are in a liter, or how many liters are in a milliliter. So 1,000 milliliters is in 1 liter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of conversions here. And that's why I asked, like, is this really the one that you're using? Because there's probably one that go right to it, but I don't know how to tell you which one you might need. So we start out with ounces, they cancel, grams cancel, centimeters cubed cancel, milliliters cancels with milliliters, and you get down to this. So again, you multiply the top numbers.
Okay.
And then you multiply the bottom numbers. For these single conversion ones, you don't have like a lot of stuff in the top and the bottom, but you should be considering that 36 times 28.35, and that's big number there, 1,020.6 over 1,000. How many significant figures are in the original unit that they give you?
3.
3. So what you do is you assume, like in all the conversions we did, that you have that at least that many significant figures. So that's why you just go to the end number. The end number is 1.0206, but then you get 1.02 as your final answer on that.
Okay.
All right, so let me go to number 4. And these are not interesting. So don't, like, if you're already kind of like, this isn't, these are just, you just got to know how to do them to get through this test. There's not anything exciting about this. So 500.0 milligrams, and we're going to pounds. You told me that there are, you told me up here, I think that in a pound, there's 16 ounces in a pound, right? And ounces and grams move together. So we're going to use this conversion in this 28.35 grams to ounces. Okay,
Okay.
so we need to get to grams. So how many milligrams are in a gram? And you're supposed to know these. These are the K something like this. You
Yeah.
probably saw that. That's how we're doing this. Like we're down here at milli and we're going up to this one. If that's not clear, I mean, we can talk about it, but you got to know that it's 1,000.
Yeah.
Centi is 100, deci is 10. Okay. Now there are 28.53 grams in 1 ounce. You told me that. That's like another known conversion. So milligrams cancel milligrams, grams cancel grams. We don't want ounces though. How many ounces are in a pound?
16.
16 ounces are in 1 pound. So now we have what we want. This one's a little bit more difficult. It's got 500 on the top. And then we got to multiply these on the bottom to get that number. So you want to be really careful that you don't just plug into your calculator 500 divided by 1,000 times that number times that number. If you're going to do that, you have to put it in parentheses. You'd have to put in parentheses 1,000 times 28.53 times 16. If you don't, you'll get something that's completely wrong, and just want to avoid that if you can. I'm trying to type this into my calculator. Get you the answer there. So this is 500 over 456,480. All right, so when I do this, I get 0.00109533 goes on forever. Okay.
Mhm.
How many sig figs are here? 4.
4.
4. So scientific notation, we got to move this and we got to get 4 significant figures. It's 1.095. That's the 4 significant figures. But then how many times do we move the decimal? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's how you come up with that answer there. If you understood that example, that's probably the hardest one of the group here to get down. Okay. So this next one is, I think, much more straightforward because you're already accustomed to, like, okay, in a day, what is the next unit in days that we think about or we have?
Hours.
Hours. And then in 1 hour, we talk about minutes.
Yeah.
So see how each time these cancel, that's always supposed to happen. And in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. So if you got a calculator, go ahead and give me your final answer. Give it to me with 2 significant figures. And this one, you'll have to give it to me in scientific notation because the number will be huge. It'll be this large number. And then I just want the number dot number times 10 to some power. That's what I'm looking for here.
Okay.
So give that a try and let me know what you come up with.
Okay. I got 2.6 times 10 in the -6th.
It actually rounds to 2.7. Do you see why that is? The 6 goes up to 7 because there's a 7 next to it. It's a minor thing, but it's enough that you'd be dinged for some points for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is all ridiculous because we have calculators and all this stuff, but that's what you're doing. You have to do this for this class right now today. And I mean, nobody says 2.7 times 10 to the 6 seconds, but that's what they want you to do here. So you have to kind of accept that.
Okay.
All right. Looks like you got a quiz, but we also got one more conversion problem to do.
Yeah.
So let me do that one next. And convert 745. Actually, let me just type this one out here. So 745 miles per hour. Okay, and we're trying to go from mph to meters per second, which is a little weird, but that's what we've got here. So this is called a double conversion because you're working on both the top and the bottom, and it's best just to choose one at a time to work on. So like, let's work on the miles. In 1 mile, how many feet are there? Do you know?
5,280.
Yes, 5,280 feet. And because we're going from US to metric, we have to get to that right conversion. So we got to go 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. How many centimeters are in a meter? There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So after all of this, that gets the meters gone, taken care of. So now we're gonna I'd run out of space here. I mean, you would keep going if you could. Now we're gonna deal with the hours, okay?
Okay.
So this is different though. You have to go up here in an hour, 1 hour. So it's going to the top this time because it's got to cancel with that. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So when I'm canceling the top one, I always go to the bottom. Top one, go to the bottom, top one, go to the bottom. But when it's on the bottom here, I have to put it up top to cancel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this equals, and this is where it's probably better to multiply top, 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 and then multiply bottom, 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 bottom.
Okay.
And we'll get some numbers here. So 745 times 5,280 times 12 times 2.54. That takes care of the top. You don't have to multiply by the ones. It's a ridiculously large number. If you have a calculator, you really don't want to even write these out, but you may have to just to store them. And then on the bottom, it's 3,600 and then times 2 more zeros. So you end up getting that number there. So when you divide, you get 333 point bunch of stuff, meters per second. How many significant figures do we start with?
3.
3. So how many should we end with?
3.
3. So we can say 3 sig figs and same thing here.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now I see I guess I should make another point here that like it looked like your instructor kind of like to make a table.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can do that if you want. It's just adding, I think it's extra lines, so I don't do it, but it's as long as you get to the right, right answer, it's probably all that matters here. All right, so I see a quiz on the metric system. Would you like us to go through that?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, so I got to open the image. I got to rotate it. I got it down now. Okay. All right. I really like that you wrote down the conversion over here on the right. I think this is really good. What I'm seeing, I'm about to snip this in. I definitely like this, that you have that there. Definitely would do that on the any upcoming quizzes or tests.
Okay.
So the truth is that you can go directly from kilometers to decimeters, but it's almost always better to go to that base. And I think that's what this is meant to signify right here. I think it's better to go to that base unit first.
Okay.
So in 1 kilometer, there are 1,000 meters.
Mhm.
And you have to be really careful here. Is it 1,000 kilometers or is it 1,000 meters? We can talk about that, but that has to be very clear, like which number goes where. I hope it is.
Yeah.
So now it depends which is bigger than the other. So in 1 meter, there are 10 decimeters. That's the one right there.
Mhm.
So whichever one is smaller, like decimeter smaller, that's why you have that number with it.
Okay.
So then it's just a matter of multiplying these things. It looks like your instructor wants you, I don't know if they want you to write it out or not. But it's you're moving this over. So it's like 1.72. So the 1,000 here moves it over 1, 2, 3. And then the 10 moves it over one more. Your decimal point goes there. So it's 17,200 decimeters.
Okay.
Number two. So your number 2 here, they give you, I'm gonna snip it in, they give you watts. Watts is like a base unit. So
Okay.
you don't have to go, like in this previous problem, we went to a base unit first. You can just go right there to it. A megawatt, mega is up here. It's 10 to the 6th. So like, how do we want this? 1,225 watts times in, so 1 megawatt is 10 to the 6th watts. And how you get the 6 is the 3 plus the 1 plus the 1 plus the 1.
Okay.
So from here, it's just a matter of like, were you allowed to use your calculator on this, or did you?
Yeah, we were.
Okay, so you could just put this in 1,225 over 10 to the 6th, and you get a number. You get 0. Well, I think you got it here on your quiz. 0. That's not right. Yeah, 0.1225 megawatts.
Yeah.
Number 3, 1,500.0 milligrams. 1,500.0 milligrams times, and that base unit is grams. So because milligrams is smaller than grams, that's why you're going to have a lot of them. So there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram.
Mhm.
So it's basically like 1,500 divided by 1,000, and that's why it's 1.5 grams for that one. Now, you wrote that and you were marked wrong. Your instructor is trying to emphasize that this has 5 significant figures. So your
Yeah.
answer has to have 5 significant figures. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, I went 1 too many. And I likely would have made the same mistake as you, because it's just you're just not used to having to add these extra zeros here, but they are needed
Yeah.
when it says sig figs, and it kind of only does for like the first part of this class.
Okay.
You do not need to show any work, just your final answer. Okay. Did you get 4 correct? Because it looks correct to me.
Yeah, I got 4 and 5 correct.
Okay. So I'll just briefly say, like with 4, when you're adding and subtracting, you just do it and then cut off the answer.
Oh, okay.
So like when you add them together, you get 177.133, and then you just say, oh, I need 4 significant figures, so I round to 177.1.
Okay.
For the next one, I have this calculator that I think is really useful to see the steps. Let me see if I can get, that's not it. Okay, here it is. Number or expression. Okay, so we've got 18.0 times 2.430 divided by, what's the last one, 3.00?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna send this website to you through the chat,
Okay.
and I will also, sorry, I'm being so deliberate here. It's just, I want to get this in the right place. And then I also snip in, let me also put it here in case you want to look at it later. I also snip in this explanation, which I think is much clearer than anything I can do. And then we'll just talk about it here together. So you can, and you got it right, but like sometimes it's here. So step number 1 is you end up multiplying first, and you've got 3 significant figures and 4 significant figures.
All right.
Follow that. So your answer here has 4 significant figures. Okay,
Yeah.
but then they say, but they're kind of underlying like where these things end. So
Mhm.
then you divide. Let me just double check these calculations here to see what they're actually doing. So 18 times 2.43 is 43.7. Agreed. 43.74 divided by 3 is 14.58. And then they round at the end. So basically, when you're multiplying and dividing, you and then when you're adding and subtracting, in both cases, you just round at the end based on significant figures.
Okay.
I guess that's the short of it. That you did it right, and that's looking good. All right, so that is everything that you've sent me for us to look through. Is there some other stuff you can send over to work on, or where should we go from here? Do you want me to find some more conversion problems?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Did you mean to schedule for both sessions tonight? Are you in need of doing both? Is there?
I wanted to do one for physics and then one for math because I have another diagnostic.
Okay.
So,
All right. If you ever schedule 2 lessons and we end up only needing one, we can just reschedule the second one just in case that ever happens. But yeah, let me find some dimensional analysis problems and see if we can find some that are good here. None of these in this first one are any good. The problem is finding ones that are useful that you've seen before here. So I'm loading up something else. Okay, here's one that I like. This is kind of a nice, this is a nice one to start with because you're already very familiar with these ideas. 16 weeks to seconds. Okay, so there's two significant figures here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like you to give this a try. 16 weeks. You're going to do a bunch of this. I'll help out here, but let me at least ask you to try this. Give yourself 60 seconds and see how you're doing. I'm just going to start entering in some of the numbers here.
Okay.
So you want to give me your answer in scientific notation when you're all done.
9.7 times 10 to the -5.
It's positive this time. You should have gotten like 967 6800 on your calculator. Whenever
Yeah.
you have a number bigger than 1, you're always going to have positive exponents here. So it's 967 6800. So you just count how many you go backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 to the 6th on that.
So if a number is bigger than 1, then it's positive.
Exactly. And if it's smaller than 1, it's a negative exponent.
Oh, okay.
It should have been that simply explained, but I guess that that isn't how they're doing it now in the classroom. Way too many things here. All right. So this is yards to millimeters. You're definitely going to use that 2.54 centimeters to 1 inch at some point in
Okay.
this. So give this one a try. Give yourself about 60 seconds and then I'll jump in and see how you're doing.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to start writing some of these steps out. You're welcome to look or wait, but the last one might be a little bit unclear. It's like, do you go like we talked about going from like centimeters to the base unit? It depends. Like they're right next to each other. You know, there's the base unit, then there's the D, the C, and the M. You may be able to just quickly say, oh, in 1 centimeter, there are 10 millimeters. You may be able to do that depending on your comfort level with this.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and punch that into a calculator. 2 significant figures when you're all done. It will be a scientific notation number again. Let me know when you've got a final answer here.
4.9 times 10 to the fourth.
10 to the 4th is what I got. So it was 49377 point something. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you say
Yeah.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I miscounted. Yes, you got it. Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do one double conversion and then we'll move on. We'll move to some other problems like this, but the double conversions are very important to be able to do. I
Okay.
think they're a little bit unclear because they give you like MPH and you're supposed to know what that is, but it's 36 centimeters per second. And all the way over here, when you're done, it's going to be miles per hour. And like we talked about, you want to work on one at a time. So I would recommend working on the top one, get centimeters to miles. You're going to go centimeters to inches, inches to feet, feet to miles.
Okay.
Give yourself a little bit of time here to try this one, and then we'll work on it together. All right, so if you follow these steps here, you see how to get to miles.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have enough room that you can keep going here for the seconds. So this is where it's a little bit different because seconds is on the bottom. You know that 60 seconds is 1 minute. You put it on the top now.
Mm-hmm.
And in 60 minutes is in 1 hour. So now the cancellation is this seconds goes with this seconds on the left here. This minutes goes with this minutes, and you have those units that you were looking for. So if you're entering this into your calculator, you would do something like this: 36 times. You don't have to do the ones. 60 times 60 slash parentheses 2.54 times 12 times 5,280 in parentheses. Your original answer was 2 significant figures, excuse me. So your final answer should be 2 significant figures. And you can just give it to me as a decimal here.
Okay. Um, 0.8.
1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Great. All right. Now let's I'm just going to grab this, this picture that you gave me earlier. I saw on your quiz, and we're going to do a few problems like that to close out this lesson. So there's some other base units. Like, let's say I tell you that you have 500 megajoules.
Okay.
And I want to know how many centijoules this is.
Okay.
So we're starting here, and we're trying to go to here. And I recommend getting there, but it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Like, I like to go there and then there, but you can go directly. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This has how many significant figures? Let me do it that way. So let me make it the 4 significant figures. It's more like your exam quiz thing.
6 times.
I'm sorry?
6.
6. I'm looking for the final number here. However you
Oh,
want.
okay. So
Like I'm trying to do this the way you have that quiz picture that you sent me.
okay, let's see.
So to me, like 1 megajoule is 10 to the 6th joules. And 1 joule is 100 centijoules. Did you have a calculator still with you? You can just
Yes.
you can just multiply these up top. The main thing is showing the 4 significant figures for your answer. So your final answer is going to be like 5.123 times 10 to some power up here. What is that number, if you got it? Should be like 10 to the 10, I think.
Uh, 10 million.
We want it in scientific notation. So it's 500 times 10 to the 6 times 100.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it ends up being this here.
Okay.
All right, so with your permission, could we start at 10 after instead of on the hour to give a little longer break, or do you want us to start right at the hour for the next lesson?
If we could start on the hour, that would be great.
All right, I will see you in about 10 minutes. I will text you the other booking link, and I'll see you then. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.